Before you blame the world again, look carefully. The person standing between you and your destiny may have your own face. Before you continue, understand this clearly. The person who has stopped you the most is not your enemy. It is not the one who betrayed you, rejected you, laughed at you, or doubted you. The greatest opponent you will ever face has your face. Your voice, your memories, your fears, your excuses, your desires, and your name. This is the fight nobody sees. It begins when the alarm rings and one part of you says rise, while another part says sleep. It begins when your dream asks for discipline, but your body asks for comfort. It begins when your anger wants to speak, but your wisdom asks for silence. It begins when fear whispers, "You are not ready," and something deeper inside you answers, "Move anyway. This is you against you. And if you win this fight, you do not win only one moment. You begin to win your whole life, because every victory outside begins with a victory inside. Every strong body begins with a strong decision. Every peaceful mind begins with one controlled reaction. Every successful life begins with one person who stopped betraying himself in private. Many people want to conquer the world, but they cannot conquer their own mourning. They want respect, but they do not respect their own promises. They want transformation, but they still protect the habits that keep them weak. They want peace, but they continue feeding anger. They want success, but they keep worshiping distraction. They want a new life, but they carry the same old self into every new day. Listen carefully. You cannot become new while remaining loyal to the old version of yourself. The old self will not leave quietly. It will speak in a familiar voice. It will say, "Start tomorrow." It will say, "You have time." It will say, "You are too tired." It will say, "Just this once." It will say, "You deserve comfort." It will say, "This is who you are." But these are not truths. These are chains speaking like friends. Many people are not defeated by great disasters. They are defeated by small negotiations. One more hour of sleep, one more excuse, one more angry reaction, one more day of delay, one more promise broken quietly, one more moment of choosing what is easy instead of what is right. And after many small defeats, they look at their life and wonder why they feel powerless. Power is not lost all at once. It leaks through repeated self-betrayal. Every time you break your word to yourself, something inside becomes weaker. Every time you say, "I will do it," and you do not, the mind learns that your word has no weight. Every time you choose comfort over discipline, the lower self becomes stronger. Every time you allow fear to decide, courage becomes quieter, but the opposite is also true. Every time you keep a promise, even a small one, strength returns. Every time you rise when you said you would rise, self-respect returns. Every time you do the difficult thing without waiting to feel ready, confidence returns. Every time you control your tongue when anger is burning, peace returns. Every time you choose the path instead of the escape, your inner warrior becomes more awake. This is why discipline is sacred. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is remembering who you are when weakness tries to make you forget. Discipline is the bridge between the person you are and the person you are capable of becoming. Discipline is how you prove to yourself that your future matters more than your mood. The weak person obeys every feeling. The strong person observes the feeling and chooses the correct action. The weak person says, "I do what I want," but look carefully. He does not do what he wants. He does what his craving wants. He does what his fear wants. He does what his anger wants. He does what his laziness wants. He thinks this is freedom, but it is slavery. Real freedom is not doing whatever impulse demands. Real freedom is being able to choose what is right, even when impulse is loud. If you cannot say no to yourself, you are not free. If you cannot stop when desire pulls you, you are not free. If you cannot remain silent when ego wants to fight, you are not free. If you cannot continue when discomfort arrives, you are not free. Freedom begins when the higher part of you becomes stronger than the lower part of you. And this does not happen by accident. It happens through training. You train the body by placing it under resistance. You train the mind by bringing it back from distraction. You train the heart by choosing compassion when bitterness feels easier. You train the spirit by remaining on the path when nobody is watching. This is the hidden work. This is the unseen temple. This is where your life is shaped. Do not believe that your private actions are small. Your private actions are your real life. What you do when nobody sees you is what builds or destroys your character. The world may see your image, but your soul sees your practice. The world may hear your words, but your spirit knows your discipline. You can deceive people for some time, but you cannot deceive yourself forever. Deep inside, you know when you are running. You know when you are using tiredness as an excuse for fear. You know when you are calling comfort peace. You know when you are delaying because you are afraid to fail. You know when you are pretending not to care because caring would require effort. You know when you are avoiding the work that would change everything. This knowledge is not here to shame you. It is here to wake you. Shame makes people hide. Awareness makes people rise. Do not look at your weakness with hatred. Look at it with honesty. Hatred creates war inside you. Honesty creates a path. When a master sees a student fall, he does not scream, "You are worthless." He says, "Stand, look again, correct the movement, repeat." This is how you must speak to yourself. Strict but not cruel, patient but not lazy, compassionate but not permissive, loving but not blind. You must become the teacher inside your own mind, because if you do not guide yourself, your habits will guide you. If you do not train yourself, your wounds will train you. If you do not choose your direction, your fears will choose it for you. Many people say, "This is just who I am." No. This is who you have practiced being. If you practice anger for 10 years, anger feels natural. If you practice laziness for 10 years, laziness feels natural. If you practice fear for 10 years, fear feels like identity. But what has been practiced can be retrained. You are not fixed. You are formed by repetition. What you repeat, you become. Repeat distraction, and you become scattered. Repeat discipline, and you become focused. Repeat complaining, and you become bitter. Repeat gratitude, and you become peaceful. Repeat excuses, and you become powerless. Repeat responsibility, and you become strong. Repeat courage, and courage becomes your nature. So do not only ask, "What do I want?" Ask, "What am I repeating?" Your future is hidden in your repetitions, not in your wishes, not in your fantasies, not in the person you pretend to be when you are inspired. Your real future is found in what you do daily. A person who desires success but practices delay is not moving toward success. A person who desires peace but practices anger is not moving toward peace. A person who desires strength but practices comfort is not moving toward strength. The universe does not respond to your dream. It responds to your discipline. You may dream of becoming strong, but if you feed weakness every day, weakness will grow. You may dream of becoming calm, but if you feed reaction every day, reaction will grow. You may dream of becoming great, but if you give your best attention to useless things, your dream will starve. Attention is devotion. What you keep giving attention to becomes powerful in your life. If you give attention to fear, fear grows. If you give attention to resentment, resentment grows. If you give attention to your phone, distraction grows. If you give attention to your body, strength grows. If you give attention to silence, awareness grows. If you give attention to your purpose, direction grows. So ask yourself, what am I feeding? Do not answer quickly. Look at your day. Look at your morning. Look at your conversations. Look at your thoughts before sleep. Look at the things you keep returning to when you feel uncomfortable. Look at what receives the best hours of your energy. Look at what you protect, even though it destroys you. Many people protect the very thing that is poisoning their life. They protect their excuses. They protect their anger. They protect their distractions. They protect their pride. They protect the story of being a victim. Because without that story, they would have to take responsibility. And responsibility is frightening at first, because responsibility means you can no longer hide behind blame. But responsibility is not a burden. It is power returning to your hands. This does not mean everything that happened to you was your fault. Some things were unfair. Some people hurt you. Some losses came without warning. Some doors closed even when you did your best. But what you do now belongs to you. How you respond now belongs to you. Whether you heal or harden belongs to you. Whether you rise or repeat belongs to you. The past may explain your wounds, but it does not have to command your future. There comes a moment when you must stop asking, why did this happen to me? And begin asking, what will I become because of this? This question changes pain into training. Pain without awareness becomes bitterness. Pain with awareness becomes wisdom. Pain with discipline becomes strength. Your wounds are not useless, but they must not become your throne. Some people build an identity around their suffering. They say, I was betrayed, I was abandoned, I was rejected, I failed. These things may be true, but they are not the whole truth. If you repeat only your wound, you become smaller than your life. You are not only what happened to you, you are also what you choose to build from it. This is the fight. One part of you wants to stay wounded because the wound is familiar. Another part of you wants to heal, but healing requires you to leave the old story. One part of you wants revenge because revenge feels powerful for a moment. Another part of you wants peace because peace gives your life back. One part of you wants to blame forever. Another part of you knows that blame is a chain. Which part will you feed? Do not wait until you feel strong to choose strength. Choose strength, and the feeling will follow. Do not wait until you feel calm to practice calm. Practice calm, and the nervous system will learn. Do not wait until fear disappears to begin. Begin while fear is present. Courage is not born after fear leaves. Courage is born when fear is there, and you still take the correct step. Fear is clever. It does not always look like fear. Sometimes it looks like logic. It says, be realistic. Sometimes it looks like patience. It says, not now. Sometimes it looks like humility. It says, who are you to try? Sometimes it looks like protection. It says, do not risk. But beneath many of these voices is the same shadow, the fear of becoming fully responsible for your own life. If you never try fully, you can always protect the fantasy of potential. You can say, I could have done it. But if you give everything, you must face the truth. This is why many people stay half committed. Half effort protects the ego. Full effort reveals the soul. Give full effort anyway. It is better to fail honestly than to live forever with the poison of what if. Honest failure teaches. Avoidance only weakens. Honest failure gives you information. Avoidance gives you regret. Honest failure can become a foundation. Avoidance becomes a cage. Do not fear falling. Fear becoming comfortable on the ground. A child learning to walk falls again and again. The child does not say, walking is not for me. the child rises. But adults fall once in business, once in love, once in discipline, once in health, and they create an identity around failure. They say, this is who I am. No, this is where you fell. Stand again. Every return is training. The mind wanders, return. Discipline breaks, return. Fear rises, return. Anger burns, return. The old habit calls, return. Perfection says, I must never fall. Mastery says, if I fall, I will learn faster. Choose mastery. Perfection makes people afraid to begin. Mastery allows beginning. Perfection hides mistakes. Mastery studies them. Perfection wants applause. Mastery wants truth. Perfection is fragile. Mastery is alive. If you want to win against yourself, stop trying to look strong and start becoming strong. Stop trying to appear calm and start training calm. Stop trying to speak wisdom and start living wisdom. The world is full of people who know beautiful words but cannot control simple reactions. Do not become one of them. Embodiment is rare. To embody wisdom means your life speaks before your mouth opens. Your patience speaks. Your discipline speaks. Your humility speaks. Your consistency speaks. Your silence speaks. You do not need to tell everyone you are changing. Change so deeply that your presence becomes different. But do not announce the seed before it has roots. Many dreams lose power because they are spoken too early. People praise the idea, and the mind mistakes praise for progress. You feel rewarded before doing the work. Then the energy disappears. Work quietly. Build deeply. Let your actions become stronger than your declaration. A seed does not shout underground, it grows. Your growth may be invisible for a season. Do not dig it up every day to check if it is working. Keep watering, keep training, keep showing up. Roots require darkness before the tree can stand in light. Foundations are not beautiful, but without them, everything collapses. Do not be ashamed of slow growth. The river does not cut through stone because it is violent. It cuts through stone because it continues, day after day, drop after drop. This is the power of consistency. Not dramatic, not loud, not exciting every day, but unstoppable. Many people love intensity. They train hard for 3 days and disappear for 3 weeks. They declare a new life and return to the old one by Friday. They confuse emotional excitement with commitment. But commitment is not proven at the beginning. Commitment is proven in the middle. The middle is where most people quit. At the beginning, motivation is alive. At the end, rewards are visible. But the middle is quiet. The middle is repetitive. The middle is lonely. The middle is where progress feels slow and nobody is clapping. The middle is where the old self starts whispering again. The middle is where you discover whether your desire is real. Stay in the middle. The middle is the temple. Do not chase only the feeling of inspiration. Build devotion. Inspiration comes and goes. Devotion stays. Inspiration says, I feel ready. Devotion says, readiness is not required. Inspiration says, this is exciting. Devotion says, even when it is boring, I continue. Inspiration starts the fire. Devotion protects it. You need a fire that can survive ordinary days. Because most of life is ordinary days. The body is built on ordinary days. Character is built on ordinary days. Trust is built on ordinary days. Skill is built on ordinary days. Peace is built on ordinary days. If you only act when life feels special, your growth will remain weak. Make the ordinary sacred. Wake up with awareness. Drink water with awareness. Make your bed with awareness. Train with awareness. Work with awareness. Speak with awareness. Eat with awareness. Rest with awareness. When awareness enters ordinary actions, ordinary life becomes a path. Your life is not interrupting your practice. Your life is the practice. The difficult person is practice. The delay is practice. The criticism is practice. The temptation is practice. The pressure is practice. The loneliness is practice. The failure is practice. Every moment that reveals your weakness is not your enemy. It is showing you where training is needed. If someone irritates you, they are showing where patience is weak. If criticism destroys your mood, it is showing where ego is fragile. If temptation controls you, it is showing where discipline needs roots. If loneliness frightens you, it is showing where you must become whole. If success makes you arrogant, it is showing where humility must deepen. Nothing is wasted when awareness is present, but without awareness, everything becomes suffering. So train awareness. Before you speak, breathe. Before you react, breathe. Before you quit, breathe. Before you believe the dark thought, breathe. The breath is the bridge between the body and the mind. When the breath is scattered, the mind becomes scattered. When the breath becomes steady, the mind begins to return. One conscious breath can interrupt an old pattern. 10 conscious breaths can save you from 10 years of regret. This sounds simple because truth is often simple. But simple does not mean easy. Everyone understands patience. Few practice it. Everyone understands discipline. Few embody it. Everyone understands silence. Few can sit alone without running to distraction. The modern world has made distraction normal. People cannot stand in silence. They cannot wait without touching a screen. They cannot eat without watching something. They cannot feel sadness without escaping. They cannot feel boredom without filling it. They cannot sit with themselves because silence reveals what noise has hidden. But if you cannot sit with yourself, how can you master yourself? Silence is a mirror. At first, you may not like what it shows. It may show anger you buried, grief you ignored, fear you disguised as ambition, emptiness you covered with entertainment. But do not run. Sit, watch, breathe. Let the mind reveal itself. You are not every thought that appears. You are the one who can observe the thought. This understanding is powerful. A thought says, give up. You observe. A thought says, you are not enough. You observe. A thought says, take revenge. You observe. A thought says, escape. You observe. The moment you observe, you create distance. In that distance, choice is born. In choice, freedom begins. Most people do not choose. They react. Someone insults them, they react. Something goes wrong, they react. A memory appears, they react. A desire arises, they react. Their whole life becomes automatic. They call it personality, but it is programming. They call it truth, but it is habit. They call it destiny, but it is repetition. Break the automatic. Pause before speaking. Observe before believing. Breathe before acting. Question before obeying. Ask yourself, is this action coming from wisdom or from wound? Is this reaction helping my life or repeating my past? Is this decision building strength or feeding weakness? These questions open the gate of awareness. The old self hates questions because questions interrupt control. The old self wants speed. It wants reaction. It wants habit. It wants you unconscious. But the higher self moves with clarity. It does not rush to obey every emotion. It does not believe every thought. It does not bow to every desire. This is the training of inner leadership. You are the leader of your own life, but only if you stop letting every impulse take the throne. Anger cannot be king. Fear cannot be king. Laziness cannot be king. Desire cannot be king. Pride cannot be king. The throne must belong to awareness. When awareness leads, emotions become information, not masters. Anger may arise, but awareness asks, what is beneath this anger? Fear may arise, but awareness asks, what is this fear trying to protect? Desire may arise, but awareness asks, what will this cost? Sadness may arise, But awareness asks, what needs care? Pride may arise. But awareness asks, what am I trying to prove? This is how the inner world becomes clear. Do not suppress everything. Suppression is not mastery. Suppression hides the fire until it burns the house. Mastery means seeing clearly, feeling fully, and choosing wisely. You can feel anger without becoming cruel. You can feel fear without becoming frozen. You can feel desire without becoming enslaved. You can feel sadness without becoming hopeless. You are not weak because emotions arise. You become weak when emotions command you. The goal is not to become stone. The goal is to become rooted. A tree feels the wind, but it remains connected to the earth. Bamboo bends, but it does not break. Water adapts, but it continues moving. True strength is not stiffness. Stiffness breaks. True strength has balance. It can be firm without being cruel, soft without being weak, silent without being afraid, powerful without needing to dominate. This is the strength you must train, not the strength that shouts, not the strength that performs here.